Okay, so since I'm not here, I wanted to go over how to do part three of the final project. So what you'll be doing is in part one, you identified your problem, you stated why it was affecting the ecosystem and why it was having an effect on biodiversity, the current situation. And then in part two, what you just completed now is that you've developed these solutions as to what we should do in order to alleviate the problem or to fix that problem. So now in part three, this is your most challenging part. You're going to do what's known as a cost benefit analysis. And so in a cost benefit analysis, what you're going to do is to look at the basically the pros and the cons of your solutions. So you're going to take your two solutions that you've chosen. Now, if you're in a group of three, you're going to have two solutions that you've narrowed this down to. You're going to have to do the cost benefit analysis for both of the solutions. If you are in a group of two, you've narrowed it down to one solution, and what I'll show you what you guys need to do for that one solution. So what I did is I broke this down into a cost benefit analysis, and I just threw it in there a scenario of going on vacation. So here I have the costs are that it could be expensive. So the kind of the negatives, you must request time off from work. You need to sit in a car or an airplane for maybe a long time. It can also be very tiring as you know, vacation. Sometimes you come back from vacation, you need a new vacation. So some of the benefits of that would be that you're going to go and you're going to have fun. You're going to have these experiences and memories. Sometimes you're going to go with family, and they're going to be these family or friends, and have more of these experiences and memories. And it's also an opportunity for you to get away from daily life. So we're looking at both the negatives and the positives for each one of these. So within your scenario, you are going to take each one of your solutions, and we want you to look at a social, cultural, or economic cost benefit for each one of those solutions. So the social and the cultural are the ones that are a little more confusing. The economics are the one that's a little bit easier to tackle. But each one of you in that group, the three of you, you're going to have to choose to do a social, cultural, and economic. Now, you're going to do this for both solutions. So that means you don't have to do social for both. You can do social for one and then maybe work it out in your group and do economic for the other one. So what we should do is, because economics is a little bit easier, we should rotate that. The same person should not be doing economics for solution one and for solution two. So when we're looking at the social impact, what we want to know is we want to look at cost. So in our social impact, we're talking about the cost. The would be something like the negatives this brings to society. So that would be like social. So if we were looking at something like um, the costs of using a new type of technology, it might be very expensive, or it require people to have more laws or more regulations. So these are something that would be more social. Benefit, how can this help society in the long run? So we want to look at how it's affecting society and how we can benefit society in that long run. And when our cultural views, in our cultural views, if we're looking at a negative of a cost, think about things like how does it hurt traditions or impact current beliefs, or the way we run politics. So those are all cultural things that we as Americans, like how might this may change our view of how we do something. So that would be a cultural negative. The cultural benefit would be the opposite. How would it make it better? How might we change a mindset towards sustainability? Or how might we, this new technology or this new way of doing it, how might it start shifting people to think about the environment and the impact that they're having? And then finally, economically, we're looking at the cost. Is it expensive? What's the cost to the consumer? What are the negative things? Like what would be, does it require more technology? Does it require a lot of investment? And then the benefits, like what would we get out of it? Would it allow us to be more prosperous? Would it allow us more opportunities for jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So the groups of three, like I said before, must choose two of their solutions and do a cost benefit analysis for each solution, and you can mix the types. And the groups of two must choose the one solution and do a cost benefit analysis for either social or economic or cultural and economic. So as the individuals are in that group, one of you should be doing the social economic portion, and the other one should be doing the cultural economic. So basically, economics is done twice, is really what it boils down to. But each one of you are going to do that to make it fair for the other groups. Since they are doing two, you need to do two as well. Then what you're going to do in your group requirement is, after you've done that individual portion, the group is going to design a model that's going to show the before and after effects of the two solutions. So if you have two solutions, you should have each solution as a group. You're going to look at what would be the before effects, and then the after effects based on that cost benefit analysis. Like, what do you think is going to happen? And then from that, you're going to narrow it down to one final solution. And that final solution is going to create the most sustainable change for your scenario. So out of those two solutions that you have left over, you're now going to narrow it down to one. If you only have one solution, that's the one you're still going to ride with. And you're going to just talk about what did you see, or what details from the cost benefit analysis is going to help you decide that is the proper way to go. So your evidence base here that you're using, or your research that you're using, is going to help you design that cost benefit analysis. That's really where your references should fall in. And once you design that cost benefit analysis that's individual, then you're going to use the analysis of all three of you, of your cost benefit analysis, to decide whether that solution is really viable. And then from those two solutions, you're going to narrow it down to one. So that's all of part three. Part three is much more complex. There's a lot more to it. This portion is going to be due on May 25th. That's right before the Memorial Day weekend. You're going to have 2 days in class to work on that prior to it, and then you'll have the 25th as well to work on this. So do the best you can for now. If we have questions on Monday, we can take a step back and we can look at this to make sure that everybody is understanding what they need to do with the project. Okay. Good luck.